Hello. Let's get started. We'll talk about driving business value with specialized AI agents, and I will show you some Azure AI Foundry, that is essentially the AI app and the agent factory. Well, to begin here, AI is reshaping our world, not in years, not in months, but right now, and it's making it impossible now possible for many scenarios, from natural language to visual understanding. AI is redefining enterprise capability, from cost centers to strategic differentiators, etc. From easy to use Copilot experience that comes out of the box to custom generative AI solutions. And if you have not heard about generative AI and any other capabilities that AI can help you with, um, there's a lot of things going on, right? And every organization is exploring how they can take advantage of AI. So today we will explore Azure AI Foundry. This is an AI app in an agent factory that helps and enables enterprise, startups, software development companies to design, customize, and manage, especially manage the AI applications and agents at scales. So let's just dive in. Well, first of all, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Ray Carneiro, Director of Engineering and Solutions Architecture here at QAT Global. If you have any question, anything, there is a Q&A session at the top of your screen. And at the end of the presentation, if you have any question, just post your questions. I will read and I will answer the question as soon as possible. So what is amazing is the speed at which intelligence is the new baseline for applications. Today, it's assumed that AI is built into the application strategy and the business strategy for nearly every organization. And the reason is super clear. AI has the power to deliver compelling return on investments. We are seeing organizations transitioning to a more strategic AI approach, aligning investments across applications, platforms, data, and infrastructure. And the goal is to enhance the value of AI works throughout advanced automation, greater model, and data reuse and efficiency. So cost efficiency, inference delivered from network to edge to individual devices, and the return on investment is proven with research from IDC showing that for every $1 a company invests in generative AI, the return on investment is almost 3 times across industry and similar across regions. Agentic AI is the new wave. So 81% of the leaders say they expect agents to be integrated into their company's AI strategy in the next 2 years. There's a huge need to create AI apps and agents beyond just the chatbot applications, etc. So now AI app development requires multi-module evaluation, rapid prototyping, and customer validation as well. And while there is a clear need to help experimentation to be more successful, customers need help to move beyond proof of concepts to production ready application development with AI. So imagine an organization where every system, process, employee has a digital teammate, agentic AI, that doesn't just respond to your prompt, but it also acts. So agentic AI goes beyond chatbots, assistants, etc. It's a software that can understand goals, make decisions, and take action in an autonomous way within defined boundaries. For business leaders, especially, this means moving from automation, doing tasks faster, to autonomous, achieving outcomes in a smart way. So think of us giving your company a thinking workforce or something like that made of digital agents, managing workflows, talking to APIs, sending reports, scheduling meetings, analyzing data, and learning from results, all without needing a human to click a run, for example, running a process. So this story starts when a business stops asking AI, what should I do? But this agent is learning, and that agent is taking actions on his own behalf because he's learning. Well, this is entirely an entirely new generation of applications with advanced capabilities and new level of demands on your system and infrastructure. This calls for a shift because applications are changing, evolving from using a single module to many modules, new features to single features to mute agent workflows, point in time return on investment to continuously improvement. And of course, we need to talk about security. You know, when you are developing agents, single agents or multi agents, security is built in, and you have to think about governance. So there has been an explosion of tools to support all of these features. That's because enterprise, startups, software development companies need the right modules, agents, and tools to build these enterprise-ready AI apps and agents. You need to access the first thing you need to access to the best frontier and open source models for your use case. You need to understand what are the best models for your use case. Number two, models out of the box might not give you the results you need. So you need the ability to customize, to fine tune your modules for your needs. Number three, you need to connect your AI apps and your agents to different knowledge bases, right? So you know what kind of responses they can reply back. Number four, you need to orchestrate multi-agent system with support for interop and for open frameworks. Number five here, you need proper content safety and security measures, including in every layer of your AI apps and agents. Finally, you need to evaluate and continuously evaluate your solutions through every stage of the AI development lifecycle. Well, that's where Azure AI Foundry, a super flexible, secure platform of model agents and tools, can empower companies to create the future of AI. You know, when using Microsoft Azure AI Foundry, it brings AI apps and agents to production so much faster than developing customized apps, you know, with a platform available throughout a unified portal, SDKs, and APIs. So your developers they have all the tooling, they have all the SDKs that they need to start creating apps and creating agents really, really fast. So using GitHub, Visual Studio, and Copilot Studio to build solutions that analyze data, automate workflows, and do much more. So you can easily manage all of your AI workloads in one single place. So let's say you have models, pipelines, and the agents are ready. When you finish doing that, you are ready to deploy. In every app and agent, they need a runtime. So Azure offers options from serverless like Azure Functions, container apps to full control so you can match what is the best price for the performance that you need. So Azure AI in general helps you and simplifies deployment across compute environments. So you have Azure AI Foundry helping you to create the agents, to create the workflows. And then you have Azure as a cloud computing service that will help you to deploy those agents really, really fast. Well, as I said, there are three steps here: design, customization, and management. So these are the three high level phases that we can follow. In the first phase, you design with the best modules for your use case. We can find more than 11,000 foundation open tasks and model industry specific for your use case. First action would be you have to know and you have to try many modules and understand how they will respond to your use case. Okay. Number two, you can customize with this approach that I'm talking about. That is this multi-agent tool chain. It helps you to differentiate your AI experience out of the box and to customize tools, agents, models, and orchestration with these agentic workflows, right? So bottom line, it helps you to create the agents and then establish a workflow about what agent will talk to each agent, and with that, you have a working workflow with a lot of AI capabilities. And last but not least, that's time to manage. So once you do the agent deployments, you need to continuously monitor and optimize this AI performance with evaluation, filters, resource security, and privacy controls. So let's start taking a look on Azure AI Foundry. Okay, that's in the portal of Microsoft AI. So ai.azure.com, that's where you go. You need to have um, an Azure subscription, so maybe using your credit card or something like that, and that's going to enable you to create your first Azure AI Foundry account. So you can see here the way it works. We are talking about creating resources. So in my example, I created this coding agent because what I want to do is I want to create a coding agent that will read my standards, that will understand how I want my architecture, my coding guideline, my security, my deployment workflows. So the first thing we do, we need to create a resource. And I created this sample one coding agent. And then when you go here, you have a lot of options here. The first one is the model catalog. As I told you, there are a lot of models that you can choose. And Azure AI Foundry will also help you with the quality of the modules based on quality, safety, cost, throughput. There's a leaderboard here where you can see that. But as I said, it really you as an AI developer, you need to identify which one of them help you the most because it really depends on your use case, right? Then, if you want to start playing around, there is a playground here where you can start chatting playground, video playground, image playground, audio playground. So it really depends on what you want to do. So in my case, what I want to do, I created this agent, and that is a .NET specialist agent, right? And that agent is gonna work side by side with me because I want him to evaluate all of my coding, all of my .NET and C# coding standards. And then the first step would be to create a new agent. Then you select the model that you want. As you can see here, when you create a new agent, on the right side, you can add an agent name and you can find a deployment. In this case, in my region here, in my Azure region, I have a standard for the GPT-4o mini. Okay, but you can choose by creating a new deployment, and you can use a base model, meaning you can use any module that Azure you provide to you, or you can fine tune your models, right? So let's say you are using GPT-4o mini, then you do a fine tuning on that module for your requirements. You can also use that. But back to the agents here, just to show you, I have this agent right here that I already created before the presentation, this .NET agent. All I have to do, I have to provide a name, the deployment, and the deployment is what model I'm using here. I have to provide instruction here. So this is pretty much what we are always mentioning about prompt engineering. So what I'm doing here, I'm providing instructions for this agent, and I'm telling him that it's my coding assistant specialized in my company's internal standards and best practices. Right. Then I give him some rules, and this is just a sample because these instructions could be uh, more specifics, right? When writing prompt engineering, you have to take into consideration rules, what to do, what it should not do, provide examples, etc., etc. So it's just a high level sample, but it's showing here the rules to always generate code in C Sharp and .NET 9. Use a clean architecture approach. This is a software engineering approach that I use, right? This is architecture that I use. This should be always multi-tenancy. And then I define all the rules that I want, right? Another thing very interesting, this is called the knowledge base. And how does it work? The way it works is there is a vector store database here. So Azure also will create a database for you where you can upload all your knowledge base. So in this case, you can see that I have 7 files here. And these 7 files, I just uploaded files uh, that will help my agent about my architectural overview, my API conventions, my folder structure, authentication, security. So this is the knowledge base. And this step is very, very important because right here is where you need to provide context, or in other words, you have to teach or give your LLM the instructions he needs based on a knowledge base, right? So um, then I uploaded those files and I can have actions here. And here's the funny part of it, because I can connect other agents here, right? So this .NET agent, I could connect to this other agent here, and then I can define what this another agent should do with the output of my first agent. My first agent pretty much receives a code, a C sharp code, analyze it, and take into consideration if that's a good or bad code, or if that is following some sort of standards, etc. And then if I want it, I could also create another agent for a code generation, for example. So this workflow, you need a use case for that. You need to define what do you want to achieve, and then you can start creating agents and adding connections between those agents. So just to give you an idea on a real world scenario, imagine you are creating an agent for marketing in your company. So the first agent you could do is an agent that is responsible for writing articles, right? Marketing articles. Then a second agent would be another agent that will receive that article and create a presentation. So you can start creating these workflows and defining what each agent can do and how it should behave, but then they should be also following your standards, and that's awesome, right? Then model settings, temperature, etc. So you can also define, specific details about how you could be leveraging your models and how they should behave as well. So as you can see, um, it makes really easy to design, to customize, and to manage. Well, there's no shortage of model innovation, but what we do hear from customers is a needing for comparing, selecting, optimizing model throughout the development process. And that's a key point. If you want to innovate with AI, you gotta be able to be testing a lot of modules, a lot of possibilities, and make sure that that model is specific for your scenario. And in Azure, you can find a lot of models direct from Azure, OpenAI, DeepSeek, Mistral, Grok, Metalemma. There are many modules from companies and also from the community. It's tricky because the model selection is a key part of the AI development process, right? So you have to evaluate and you have to understand how you what is the best option for selecting that. So from benchmarks to leaderboards to A/B testing, you can evaluate and integrate with those modules, right? So model selection with AI and Azure AI Foundry supports the complete AI lifecycle. When you are prototyping and looking to identify what is the most promising model, you can run a performance benchmark. Under the same roof, you can optimize your models through testing, iterating, using automating evaluations and swap models with the Foundry model APIs. And as you start your operation at scale, you can start doing some automated post-production evaluation and A/B testing, right? So meaning you can have a model here, A, and you can have a model B, and you can do the same test between A and B and see which one of them is responding best to you. Well, let's talk now about how you can differentiate your AI experience with these out-of-the-box and customizable tools and agents, right? Um, let's look at the evolution of agentic AI's development. We started with automation that is great for workflows, but it's really hard to adapt, right? So modules then enable assistant, they could answer questions, generate summaries, but now organizations, they are creating single agents with autonomous to plan, act, and move forward, right? So the next wave is composing this agentic system or fleets of single agents that can negotiate between themselves, cooperate, and optimize as an intelligent workflow. The key difference here from where we started yesterday, for example, from before, is adaptability. Today's agents, they are super good with adapting to the new reality. So on the right side, for example, we can have uh, agentic system that solves complex tasks like onboarding employees, and all the steps for onboarding employees, et cetera, et cetera. Well, in my experience talking to organizations, we have learned that developing secure, reliable agents, they will require three primary ingredients. Number one is flexible model choice. Number two, integration with extensive memory and knowledge connectors. And number three is built-in enterprise readiness. So to increase time to value for developers and time to market for business, Azure AI Foundry Agent Service will offer a complete orchestration layer for this agentic scenario that I'm talking about. Okay. Well, what I want to say is with a few clicks, as I showed you before, agents can be deployed to Microsoft 365 or any other platforms like, I don't know, Teams, Slack, Twilio. So bringing agents directly into the tools will help your employees to use them every day. And that's going to be super helpful. Real world workflows often will require multiple agents working together, and again, with Foundry Agent Server, that's super easy and super fast because you have the AI capabilities and you have the cloud computing servers together. So it's all about having everything on the same place, right? And then if you need to implement something different like MCP, model context protocol, with other, I don't know, with other vendors or something like that, there are agents that are able to cooperate across, I don't know, Azure, AWS, Google Cloud, or even on-premises environments, right? So it's super easy using MCP protocol. Well, I have walked you through the key points of using Azure AI Foundry, which is enabling enterprise of all sizes to create the future of AI, and that's super simple. So I really recommend you to go through the AI portal, Azure Foundry, and then create some tasks, create your first agents, and that's pretty much super simple. But in order to get started, I highly have recommend that you have a foundation understanding about what are LLMs, what are prompt engineering, what are modules and how you can customize those modules, what are agents especially, and what is the life cycle of an agent, right? And that's going to help you quite a lot. I have a demo presentation here that I was preparing before. That is something like this. So in this architecture that I was saying, a user starting here, number one, he will prompt or do some questions here. And then we have this RAG, this retrieval augmented generation API that's going to do a vector search on this knowledge base and search for documents. So let's say you have a lot of HR documentation, procedures, SOPs, or something like that, and you want to create a workflow where you can enable your employees to start asking questions for that agent about anything that is in that knowledge base, from HR to anything similar to that. So this is how it works for a single agent. But now, what we're talking about as an evolution is how do we go to a multi-agent workflow? So it's pretty much the same as before, but we have the user here or any system actually prompting or asking a question. And this API layer or this retrieval augmented generation layer, it's going to send a prompt to one agent that will be orchestrating the workflow. Then this orchestrator, in my example, he's sending the content for another agent that will be responsible for doing code review. He's only responsible for that. He's a specialist, right? And then this code reviewer agent is going to my knowledge base, searching for my architectural guidance, code standards, security standards, and going back there. And that's where you have to define what is the workflow. So should it stop here? Should it move forward? What is this agent supposed to do, right? In this example, this code reviewer agent, he is calling another agent that is a code and standard generation, meaning that if that code from that other agent is not in my standard or my guidance, or my architectural guidance, this other agent will only be responsible for generating a new code for doing that. And let me show you that running. So I have this application here, and it's connected to my knowledge base. And my knowledge base, it contains all my architecture, as I told you, my architecture guideline, coding standards, security standards, right? So the first question would be, what are QAT coding standards? But when I send this, and you see, this was super fast. And this first agent is reaching my knowledge base and saying, okay, this is your API naming, versioning convention, route pattern, status code. What else here? Authentication, authorization, secrets. So it's providing me a high level understanding about my own stuff, right? But if I want to go deeper here, let me get some random code here. And I'm copying here an example of code that is not part of my standard. So if I do a prompt like this, validate this source code, and if I paste that source code, then it's sending that again to my agent, that first one. And just to mention here, this source code, I just create a super bad example, right? So it goes against all my rules, all my everything that was defined, right? So this other agent, the first agent, he checked and he said, hey, you are not using status codes, you are not using the patterns that we defined before, you are not following clean architecture as I have defined before. And then he sent to the second agent, the code generator, the example, one example of how that should be done. So he's saying, hey, this is how you could do that. This is the best option you can do, in order of generating C# code within QAT coding standards. And he's also explaining my architecture guidelines, saying the structure of my architecture. It's providing an example for that. It's providing an example for my contracts layer within my application. He's also providing an example for um, adding that customer repository to a database and the API layer. So this is an example of my agent taking my bad code, reading my knowledge base, sending to the other agent so that other agent will revise my code and prompt back. And then he just send me everything here that I need to follow, with example, with code generation, etc., etc. So that's running there in Microsoft Azure, but it could also easily run in my own infrastructure. If I would like to set up a local infrastructure to run these agents workflow, it works. It takes more. It's more complex because I have to manage all of these workflows and these LLM stuff. So it's kind of a drawback. You need to decide what kind of um, effort you want to move forward. If you want to move forward with your own infrastructure, that's on you, but you can take advantage of using cloud computing and especially Azure for AI and for agent development. Go back here to the presentation. Well, that's it. I really enjoy your time. Thank you so much for being here with me. Let me see if we have any questions here. We have some time to respond to the questions, to the Q&A. No, I don't think we have any questions. But I'll leave you my contact here. This is my email, ray underscore Carneiro at qat.com. Thank you so much. And I highly suggest you to try out. We are really excited to partner with you to shape the future of custom software development using AI. Let's transform your development process together. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.